Okay, now it is Tiruchi Siva's resolution.
Sir.
Yes, you are. How are you getting it again and again? You got bill and you are. Good thing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now
Sir.
you can move the resolution.
Thank you, sir. I move the resolution. And I just wait. Sir, I move the resolution, sir.
Yeah. And if you want to speak, you can speak. You can, if you want, you can speak also.
Sir, of course, I have, sir. Sir, it's a very important resolution, which may appear to be very simple, but it involves the rich tradition, culture, and the native people of this country, sir. Sir, from time immemorial, India has primarily been an agrarian country. And of course, our nation contributes 15.4% of the GVA, gross value added, in the year 2015-16. And it employs 263.1 million Indians, which accounts for 54.6% of the total workforce. So today in India, like many other developing countries, with a rich agricultural tradition and heritage of their own, the words improved agriculture forms as a substitute or a synonymous with the increasing use of high-yielding variety seeds and usage of chemical fertilizers, pesticides and tractors, among other modern inputs. Sir, the spread of modern technology or the modern methods of has uprooted several traditional agriculture methods like that of crop rotations, use of cattle and intercropping patterns, which have been an integral part of the agricultural heritage. However, in the goal of increasing the short-term yield, the long-term impact of these modern methods have been severely neglected. Sir, we should not ignore certain facts, sir. Over the years, indigenous cattle have been the backbone of the agriculture of our country, rather our economy also, sir. Prior to introduction of modern farm equipments, carrying on agricultural activities would not have been possible without the use of cattle. From ploughing to transportation and the use of the dungs and urine as manure and fertilizers, the use of cattle for agriculture are many. Even today, cattle are an integral and important part of agricultural, particularly for the landless, the marginal and the small farmers. Sir, bulls are used for ploughing and transportation. This not only helps to save consumption of power, but also in using volumes of fossil fuels that are harmful to the environment. Fossil fuels are a primary source of energy, no one can deny, but at the cost of what? So fossil fuels release carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and carbon monoxide, among other greenhouse gases that will severely harm the environment also. The consequences will be, in the long run, will be felt. Burning of fossil fuels of one of the primary causes of global warming. Sir, it results in the rise of temperature and of course, flooding of low-lying areas in sea levels and submerging of islands. Sir, sulfur dioxide is one of the pollutants released by the fossil fuels which causes acid rain. Sir, acid rain not only leads to destruction of monuments, but also severely affects crops due to acidification of the air. Sir, we cannot ignore this very, very important thing, sir. As of today, fossil fuels are being extracted and mined at an exorbitant cost to meet the current demand and supply. However, it is estimated that fossil fuels would become extinct in the long run, since this is a non-renewable energy. it is highly likely that fuel prices will also increase steeply in the future. Sir, in the year 2014-15, the sale of tractors in India was 5.51 lakh. In 2015-16, India imported 2.2 lakh TMT of crude oil and other petroleum products worth INR 5.24 lakh crores, sir. It is estimated that 60 lakh tons of diesel worth 4,000 crores can be potentially saved by replacing tractors by cattle for the purpose of ploughing and transportation. This would save a huge saving, not only economically, but also environmentally, sir. Sir, cattle dung has been traditionally used in India as manure and fertilizers. This tremendously helps to reduce the reliance on chemical fertilizers and pesticides that have a negative effect on the quality of the soil as well as harms the quality of food crops that are produced. Sir, given the serious issue of depleting groundwater sources, overutilization of chemical-based fertilizers and pesticides is further adding to the problem of non-usability of existing groundwater resources. Sir, India consumed 256 lakhs tons of fertilizers in 2014-15. Indiscriminate use of fertilizers and pesticides in agriculture has also led to the rampant spread of diseases through food products. Use of such inputs leading to groundwater contamination has been linked to gastric cancer and hypertension and stomach cancer among a number of other diseases. Sir, however, on the other hand, the dung and urine from cattle contain various natural minerals which are extremely beneficial for the soil and have other environmental friendly uses as well. Dung is also collected and used as biogas to generate electricity and heat. The gas is rich in methane and is a renewable, stable and inexpensive source of electricity. Further, the use of dung as manure has no negative impact on our health, sir. Sir, a high dependence on fossil fuels and chemicals-based inputs for agriculture not only harms the environment, but is also extremely expensive. The usage of such inputs significantly raises the cost of farming, which is not feasible for the small and marginal farmers who are living a hand-to-mouth existence. Such farmers find it more economical to rear bulls rather than to purchase or rent tractors. So in order to maintain their agricultural inputs, sir, they get loans from the banks which they are not able to repay. And sir, we hear so many number of farmers committing suicide in the recent days, sir, across India. Not only in any particular region, across India, farmers commit suicide only for the reason that they don't get rain, they don't get water, and in order to have inputs for agriculture like pesticides and fertilizers, which they believe would fetch them more yield, rather have put them to disastrous end, they rather commit suicide, sir. So this chemical use, the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, rather than helping the farmers, it brings their life to an end. So, it is very, very imminent, sir. We have to consider that it has to be replaced with a traditional and heritage form of cultivating. Use of cattle will not only help the farmer, sir, but also preserve the soil as well the food products that are cultivated, sir. Sir, as per the livestock census conducted by the Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries of the Government of India, the total indigenous cattle population in India has reduced by 8.94% from 1660 lakh in 2007 to 1511 lakhs in 2012, sir. This is a small fraction of the total actual requirement for cattle for agriculture practice. On the other hand, the population of exotic breeds of cattle has increased by 20.18% in the same period from 330 lakh to 397 lakh in the year 2012. So native breed of our cattle are diminishing or being extinct, whereas the exotic breeds of cattle are increasing in number. And what is the result of that? Sir, I have got a very, very good example, sir. I got it in the Tamil. The cows which yield milk, I think the milk which the cows yield has a protein which is called beta-casein A1 and U1, A2 and U2. The native cows, the milk which the native cows are giving, it has A2, U2, which helps the people to live with health, and of course it saves them, the blood circulation is increased. Whereas the breed cows yield, the milk which the breed cows are giving has got A1 and U1, which are the source of cancer. Sir, this is not something which is imaginatory, it is by way of research, sir. So the milk which our native cows keeps our children healthy, whereas the milk which the exotic breed of cows giving brings new diseases, sir. Just by way of getting more milk, we cannot stake the health of the people. Owing to this decline in the cattle population, artificial insemination is increasingly being relied upon for breeding cows. This is much sadder, sir. Not only is the process of artificial insemination expensive, but it has also led to a reduction in the demand for bulls. Sir, bulls are used for ploughing, transportation, and to breed cows, as well as other sportive like delicate and all other things, sir. Whereas if the bulls come down, sir, yes, maybe. Why not? So, sir, when the native cow bulls are actually become extinct, the focus on certain specific breeds in the process of artificial insemination also results in the loss of genetic variation. In fact, according to a recent news report, 59 live bulls of the Jersey breed were recently imported from Denmark. Studies have shown that due to artificial insemination and the way the animals are treated, the animals' lifespans are drastically impacted. In an ideal situation, cattle grow to be around 25 years of age. However, animals that are intensively milked live up to only around 10 years. So, sir, our cows also will become extinct in the coming days. The breeds will be imported, and even for that, these live very short period. Even for insemination, we have to, even for growing up cattle, we have to depend upon other nations. For insemination, for cows and everything. So when we have a rich tradition and heritage, sir, we are just giving up for more income, whereas we won't get income, sir. We will only stake our future of the children as well as the posterity and the nation. So the native cattle in India have evolved in perfect harmony with its local region and adapting to the local environment conditions. The state of Tamil Nadu had 6 indigenous cattle breeds: Kangayam, Pulikulam, Umbalacheri, Barugur, Alambadi and Malaimadu. However, today, owing to increase in artificial insemination and lesser people rearing cattle, most of these breeds have dwindled to a few thousand, sir, and are on the verge of extinction. This is a majority due to the lack of incentives to farmers, introduction of tractors, and the popularization of exotic breeds. Sir, nowadays, I think the Deputy Chairman is well aware, people are reverting back to the original form of cultivating, sir. Even they totally give out of these chemical fertilizers, and organic products are being welcomed by the consumers as well as the farmers. It is more remunerative to the farmer as well as it is healthier for the consumer. So for that, what they do is, now I am converting my farm into organic. Earlier we were using chemical fertilizers. Now that they instructed me, totally stop that. Only 2 native cows and 2 native bulls are enough for 15 acres of land, whose cow dung and urine will be used as manure and fertilizer, as manure as well as pesticide also, sir. So in that way, the product which is grown up in that form is being, people are waiting to get that. So the awareness has come, whereas we are resorting to other means, sir. So Article 29 of the Constitution says that it's a fundamental right of every citizen residing in any part of India and having a distinct culture of its own has a right to conserve the same. Article 51A of the Constitution directs that it is a fundamental duty of every citizen to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Sir, the artificial insemination is a worst thing which we have to pay attention to and stop immediately. When we have got our own bulls, the bulls which are used for ploughing and transportation, which are used for sports, can otherwise be used for breeding our own cows, sir. Sir, I should confess here, and I request your apology for telling this. By way of artificial insemination, the cow may breed or give milk, sir, but its natural pleasure is deprived. It is not just because saving an animal from being cruelty by being meted out to it by a human or anyone else. The other things have, just because it doesn't have a mouth, we should not underestimate its feelings. It has to give birth to a cow. For that it has to be with a bull. But you are totally depriving it of a bull. No bull is there, whereas it is pregnated, it gives birth and it gives milk. Sir, I am very sorry to say that, sir, but I have to share this. They are all animals. How can we deprive just for the sake of our milk or for our income? Only artificial insemination can fetch you more money means, I think, sir, we have to apply our mind that we have some humanitarian consideration, not only with a fellow human being, but also with animals who come along with us, who are always with us, sir. So without activities, many such things, sir, I would like to say I think it is not out of place. Cows and bulls are being domesticated. They are brought up like children. And even in many areas, not only in Tamil Nadu, sir, these things are being used for other activities. In Tamil Nadu, sir, an ancient tradition that has been observed for over 2000 years, the Jallikattu, a bull taming sport, conducted as part of the annual Pongal festivities to celebrate the harvest season. A glimpse of this sport, Jallikattu sport, can also be seen in the ancient historic relics of the Indus Valley civilization, which are displayed at the National Museum, New Delhi. So it is not something which is happening today. It is since the Indus Valley civilization, and the display is still in the National Museum of New Delhi, sir. So it requires the use of indigenous breeds of bulls. And the bulls are identified, they are nourished and trained for the event. They are not tortured. They are fed well than that of a child of a person, sir. And without activities like Jallikattu, a lot of native breeds will be sent to slaughterhouses. With reduced availability of bulls, farmers will be forced to adopt artificial insemination techniques, which is cost prohibitive and is indirect contravention in situ conservation, sir. So, sir, in a bid to extract more commercial value and more milk from the cows, artificial insemination methods are not used for breeding of the indigenous breeds of the cattle. Thus, a ban of traditional and cultural practices such as Jallikattu and Bangala in Karnataka and all further aggravates the problem of extinction of indigenous cattle. So, societal peace and harmony comes about by taking proactive action and not just talking about it. Despite religious, class, and caste diversities prevalent in India, many principles, functions, events are sustainably shared for a peaceful co-living. Jallikattu is one such festival that is celebrated with full enthusiasm across the state of Tamil Nadu by the people, breaking through numerous caste, class, and religious barriers. So, sir, the native bulls or the native cattle is essential for agriculture purpose, to preserve our ancient and heritage method of agricultural farming, and moreover, in the interest of the small and marginal farmers who consider it better to rear a bull to maintain their livelihood than to resort upon the chemical fertilizers to grow something, so to get some more yield in the farms. As well as sports like Jallikattu, we will also encourage people to develop that, sir. So it shall be Article 51A again, I should quote that, sir. The duty of every citizen of India to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional or sectional diversities. Sir, just for an example, I say, it doesn't create any controversy. Rather, it brings in more harmony among the people of various culture, various diversities, various caste, various class, and various religions. In Madurai, the Muslim imams offer their holy ash to the bulls before the sport is started. In fact, in Madurai, the first bull that enters the arena belongs to a scheduled caste family. Further in Dindigul, the Christian priest hoists the flag to start the event, and in Alanganallur, priests belonging to scheduled caste perform a puja before the body vessel is opened. So there is no caste barrier. No religion is there. People are together. For example, if people have to come together, some festivals have to be there. Supposing if Ramzan comes, we go there. If Christmas comes, we come to a place. If Deepavali comes, they come to other place. Like that, such events also bring people together. Some sports, for showing some other reason, cannot, if curtailed, it spoils the ancient heritage and culture and tradition of the country. So, sir, in too many number of interests, I am moving this resolution, sir, first in the form of agriculture, to preserve the traditional form of agriculture and to save the marginal and small farmers who cannot afford to pay the chemical fertilizers, and it contaminates the soil. It depletes the groundwater. It spoils the, moreover, even the food products which are, the crops which are produced in that soil by way of these inputs causes harm and hazardous to the health of human also. So we have to replace, high time we have to concentrate. The ministers are here, the government is here, all the learned members are also here, sir. High time we have to revert back. When we have got a tradition, why should we give it up by way of other things, for other expectations, sir, which doesn't fetch anything. So, sir, I would like to conclude with my emphasis on social harmony. In light of the importance of social harmony is a goal that must be pursued at all costs. In light of the directive mandated by our constitution and the importance of the events, the bulls have to be, the native cattle have to be protected, sir. And for that, the Jallikattu play in maintaining such harmony. I just mentioned as an example. Given the added benefits in achieving this goal, sir, and the constitutional importance granted to the same by events such as Jallikattu, the government must also take steps to preserve this unique culture and heritage of the country, and also take all positive steps to promote the use of indigenous cattle and actively engage in preserving and protecting the native breeds, sir. For that, the House urges upon the government to take the following measures. Number one, suitably amend the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960 to exempt bulls from the application of provisions that restrict their use and training for various purposes. This includes the use of various techniques to train them to effectively perform their agriculture tasks such as ploughing and transportation. Number two, include this amended provision of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960 to the 9th schedule of the Constitution of India. And three, to take steps, educate, encourage and incentivize people about the numerous uses of indigenous cattle for agricultural purpose and improve their health and stock. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr.